Hey guys, what's up? My name is Michael. I'm a producer signed to Sony that does a lot of K-pop, J-pop, and sync licensing, and today I'm going to be reviewing Oeksound new plugin, Bloom. So just to read up, I just got this email a couple days ago, really not sure exactly what this plugin does, but Bloom, what we wish an EQ would do. Control irregularities in ref sounds, increase warmth, clarity, or brightness in a safe and controlled fashion, transform the tone of a sound with natural sounding results, and track Bloom through low latency modes. So cool. So it's kind of like a frequency adjuster. Find your tone with Bloom. Bloom is an adaptive tone. Lets you shape the tone and character of a track, for example, by adding warmth, brightness, or clarity. Tonal adjustments made with Bloom are dynamic and content aware. This together with the curve design makes it quick and easy to check. So I guess it's just like a tone shaper to hopefully add clarity and to add adjustments. So cool. So it boosts the cut frequencies only when needed and helps to mitigate energy buildup. So it sounds like it's more of like a resonant tone shaper where it's going to avoid anything that isn't too pleasant to hear. Kind of reminds me of like Soothe 2, where it's like Soothe 2, like the whole purpose of it is to like mitigate those sibilants or harsh frequencies. This kind of seems like the opposite of like, oh, like maybe you want to turn up some certain frequency in that instrument or instrument type. They actually have a 20-day free trial you can check out right here. I downloaded it yesterday and we're going to try it out for the first time today. So let's go open Ableton. So here we are on a blank Ableton slate. Right now I have pretty much nothing open. I'm going to just delete this audio track. We're going to bring in Bloom into a session now. So I just got to type in Bloom and then go to my plugins and then click here. Cool. So this is the interface. Pretty much don't know anything about it. So what I'm going to plan on doing is just run it through some random vocals and some instruments and just see what we can do with it. So I'm going to look up a guitar sample, just find something down here. Cool. So nothing's happening right now, right? We're going to try just scrolling through some presets and see what happens. So this is going to be add grit to an 808. Okay. Very clean though. Like you can obviously hear the noise, but let me just try compared to turning it off. Not bad. Honestly, not bad at all. Let's just try, let's just see what they have. Okay, so drum. Let's go guitar, acoustic guitar. Let's turn it off. Add it. So it seems like it's fixing a lot of the low end and high end, adding kind of a boost and reducing any of the mid kind of build up frequencies that acoustic guitars tend to have, which is really cool. Like if you were just recording straight into your DAW and wanted to get a quick, easy fix, this seems like the right tool for that. Let's just see control boxiness in acoustic guitar. So let's crank this way up, right? Let's try 10 dB, see what that sounds like without. Let's try turning it on now. I'm gonna try using a muffled guitar and just seeing if it can actually clean that up better. So we got something that's relatively pretty boxy, right? We got this sound right here without Bloom. Let's turn Bloom on now. Turn back on. Wow. That cleans up a lot of the noise actually. It still has a nice warm kind of low end without it being too boomy. Okay, let's try this one. Honestly, not bad. It seems like a great tool to fixing like really bad sounding samples or recordings, right? For example, if you were recorded a guitar and you're recording way too close to the mic and it's picking up kind of a lot of your hand movements and a lot of the kind of like scraping of the strings and any other sort of thing that isn't great for the acoustic guitar, but you didn't have a chance to re-record, this seems like a great fix of like, hey, you know, I'm limited time in a session. I just got to get this track relatively finished, throw on Bloom, get it sounding a little bit better, and then from there you can process the better signal. Definitely seems like something you would do pretty early on in your chain. So I would say Bloom would be something kind of used as more of a corrective element before you apply, you know, other EQ, other effects, just to kind of fix it. Overall balancing EQ, and then you can further kind of dial in the process with like Soothe 2, for example, if you want to really lock into the high end and maybe potentially look at kind of more of the mids and stuff like that. But seems like a cool plugin. I'm going to try a couple other presets and see what I can hear. I do like the squash element too. The fact that you can completely overdrive the EQ, giving it kind of like a cool saturation effect, which is nice. And I definitely can see it being used in a certain way to create more of like a sound design tool. So it does look like they have some mastering options. There's vocals, orchestra, master bus, which is cool. I'm going to try vocals actually. So I'm going to record a really, really bad vocal and see if it could fix it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. So I've tried basically going really into my mic. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4,
4, 5, 6.
So we're gonna go here and just see what it can actually do. So we're gonna try doing acapella bass and see if I can clean up. This is without bloom.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Cool. Let's try with bloom.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So it's adding a lot of clarity in the high end actually. Before, again.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Now with.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's great actually, because people usually think for acapella basses you kind of filter out a lot of the higher end frequencies, but you still want to have some of that breathiness and some of that lightness to it. This seems like a great tool for that, not gonna lie. Like, it sounds like it's cleaning up the low end a lot. It's giving it a nice kind of sheen on the top. Let's try backing vocals out of the way without bloom.
1, 2, 3.
Let's go with bloom now.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Cool. So it's kind of doing a mid-side EQ. It's taking out a lot of the mids, kind of definitely pushing it more into the back and kind of keeping it more as like a subtle instrument. You can definitely see this being used on like a group of doubles or group of harms that you want to just kind of throw in there, while making sure that it's not competing with the main vocal, right? Usually what I do for that is like track spacer and like a sidechain EQ, but this seems like a better way to handle it. It's more of like a multi-band method of getting it fixed and to get it more blended in. Honestly, I can see this being used as like a great way to dial in vocals with people that don't really have a great recording setup. For example, if you're recording in an untreated space and you don't really have a lot of soundproofing and there's a lot of room reflections and there's some issue with the track, most people would use something like RVox to just like, obviously it's a gate compressor and a kind of a limiter built in all in one. There's a really great way to kind of boost up the signal without introducing any of the room noise. This seems like a great fix for that, and just like honestly a better way to handle it, because it doesn't really sound like we're adding in a ton of compression and we're kind of just multi-banding compressing it in a nice way. Hopefully not going to introduce any additional noise. I think it's pretty CPU friendly. I'm just going to hover. Okay, so it's about the same as Soothe. So it's like 23.3 milliseconds. So we open Soothe here just to see kind of the comparison. Soothe is double that. Okay, but that makes sense. Soothe is really like diving into the nitty gritty resonant frequencies of your track. This is more of like a one time you fix it, and then I would honestly just say you apply it to the whatever chain you have. That makes the most sense in my brain. You know, once you have the effects dialed in, freeze it to audio, flatten it, and then you have a nice source signal that sounds great. This is going to be drum bus. This is going to be without bloom. This is with bloom. So we are getting a little bit more clarity in the kick drum and kind of more of the transient hits. Obviously, if you listen to your track and you know there's an issue with it, this seems like a great thing to just throw on and get you a quick and easy fix without having to really overthink the process. That's kind of what most plugins I would say that you should be spending on. You know, anything that could hopefully save you a couple minutes every day is going to be really important and can save you hours at the end of the year. Can allow you to focus on other things that are more important in your track. If I can just throw this thing on and the vocal group sounds great, I can spend more time working on other things of the track, like the mix for the drums, the mix for the rest of the production. Everything's like that are going to be more important. For the most part, it sounds like more live musicians and people that tend to record more live instruments using, because once we have the sample sounding good, we're not really going to be using something like bloom on it unless there's an issue with it that we need to tackle. That's kind of the way I treat Soothe 2 too. I'm only going to use it if I hear there's sibilance in the voice that I got to take out, or there's some sort of low end buildup that I don't want to deal with a Pro Q, and I just want to throw on a Soothe to handle it. This kind of seems like the same thing, where you would throw this on, you have like a really cool drum groove you recorded at home, right? But there's just something wrong with it. You would just throw this on and fix it. It sounds like a very easy way to do that. You would then bounce it to a stem, and then you have the polished version later. Definitely something I could see more kind of sample creators and sample producers using just to kind of fix their sounds and making them cleaner and hopefully faster without having a great recording environment. I'm just trying to think of the other use cases. We haven't tried it on a master, and I'm definitely curious to see what it would do. It does seem like it's not doing a ton compared to another preset that's kind of more handling the instruments, which makes sense because for the master, you generally don't want to be doing too much crazy processing. Seems like a cool way to add and to adjust your master bus before going into anything else. I personally use something like Gullfoss to kind of handle the more frequency, the resonant frequency balance, and making sure that it's kind of overall more balanced and taking out any of the resonance rather than using something like this. Maybe something you could try if you're worried about your master chain. A lot of people use Ozone and they'll just throw it on, use like a clone EQ from some of the song that they like and just apply it. That is a good way to do it. This might be another way you can try that out and kind of getting like a more dialed in sound without having to really go through that process of copying an EQ and then applying it. But it's cool. It's one of those plugins where I think I'm gonna have to use for like a couple months and just really see. I only have 20 days, so we'll see how much I actually get to use it. I'll come back in a month probably and just see how I like using it. You can definitely see it being used in a good amount of tracks, but I guess the main thing to note that it is $200. So it is pretty expensive. I mean, if we compare it, I'm just going to go to Soothe 2. Soothe 2 is about, okay, so it is the same price as Soothe 2. One thing to keep in mind for anyone that is looking to buy plugins, Oeksound usually never goes on sale unless it's Black Friday. So Black Friday, they always do some sort of sale. I think Soothe 2 was $130 last year. So it was a little bit off. Still definitely a pretty expensive plugin, but it's one of those plugins that like I will vouch for because I use it on basically everything because it makes my life so much easier, right? If you don't have Soothe 2, I recommend you maybe look into it. It would save you so much time. And rather than having to go in with a Pro Q and like really surgically go and cut things, you can just kind of scroll through a preset, dial it in on the depth and the mix knob, and then you're basically good. Bloom, I want to see. I want to watch some more tutorials and want to watch some more reviews by other people just to see what they like about it. $200, I don't know. But Oeksound, like I mentioned before, great company. They always put out quality. So it's worth noting that like bought Soothe 2 like 3 or 4 years ago, and I've been using it ever since. This seems like another tool potentially that I could be using to fix up recordings if I do end up doing more live stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed. You can check out the link in the description to download your free copy for now. There is a 20-day free trial like I mentioned before. Definitely try checking it out. Let me know what you think about it, and let me know if I missed anything that you think I should try for next time. But thanks guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll check you guys out later. Peace out.